Hello and welcome to this Hurricane Dorian update. It is about 8 p.m. and this is I have the 5 p.m. update, though we should be getting the 8 p.m. update any minute now. So let's see. Here is the 8 p.m. update. So the eye wall of Dorian is very near Cape Fear, North Carolina. So as of 8 p.m., its location is, we'll just go down here and read the discussion and outlook here, because otherwise I'd be reading the same things twice. As of 8 p.m., the eye of Hurricane Dorian was located near latitude 33.4 north, longitude 78.0 west. Dorian is moving toward the northeast at near 10 miles an hour, and this general motion is expected to continue with an increase in forward speed through Saturday. On the forecast track, the center of Dorian will move over or near the coast of North Carolina tonight and Friday. The center should move to the northeast of extreme southeastern New England Friday night and Saturday morning and approach Nova Scotia later Saturday or Saturday night. Reports from an Air Force Reserve Hurricane Hunter aircraft indicate the maximum sustained winds are now near 100 miles an hour with higher gusts. So it has weakening. It's weakening. That's good news. Slow weakening is expected during the next few days. However, Dorian is expected to remain a powerful hurricane as the center moves near the coast of South and North Carolina. Dorian is forecast to become a hurricane force post-tropical cyclone by Saturday night as it approaches Nova Scotia. Hurricane force winds extend outward up to 60 miles from the center, and tropical storm force winds extend outward up to 220 miles. And this is the bad thing about it. The storm is getting larger. The frying pan shoals just reported a peak wind gust of 70 miles an hour. The minimum central pressure based on Hurricane Hunter aircraft is 28.47 inches. So let's take a look at this on satellite right now. This over here, and you can see here is Dorian looking a little more ragged. Looking a little more ragged because it's interacting with the land a little bit. The eye wall starting to go over land. You can see the eye wall starting to impact extreme eastern North Carolina here, and it looks like it's just going to stay just offshore. But I think these barrier islands right here could see the eye as it moves northeastward, and there has been a big impact on South Carolina from it. As far as power outages goes, mainly along the coast and mainly in the Charleston area. We have about a 50%, about half of the of Charleston County out of power right now. But it's just along the coast as far as that goes. It's just along the coast. So let's take a look at the forecast track from the Hurricane Center. As you can see the latest with that. Here is the track. Hurricane warnings in effect still for South Carolina, North Carolina, maybe a little bit into Virginia. Tropical storm warnings in effect for the southern part of Delmarva, believe it or not, and the Cape Cod area, because the storm's it's a large storm and it's gonna come close enough to have some effects. And even we're going to have some effects here on Long Island as far as higher surf goes. This was the old advisory. It still has it as of 105, but it is now weakened to 100. So it is weakening, but that's because of it's interacting with the land. So let's look at windy.com and look at some of the models here in regards to this hurricane here. As we're going to look at the URL here on the windy.com, and then I'll look at some of the other models through Tropical Tidbits. So this is the sustained wind. This is the URL, and you can see just along the coast is where the strong winds are. The worst of the core is just offshore. So let's go to Friday morning, 8 a.m. And you see it's starting to pick up some speed now. All right, now it's over the Outer Banks and this whole area here. You can see the eye looks like it could go over the barrier islands. This could be very bad because you can see the wind just pounding the water. I think these barrier islands will be inundated for sure. And again, you have these high winds, but of course, this is just showing the sustained wind. If I move it over to wind gusts, which I just did, you'll see the wind gusts. You still have plus 100 mile an hour wind gusts, but mainly offshore. That's the good news. So we go into 5 p.m. Friday. It's moving away from the coast, but you're still going to get some strong winds in the Newport News, Virginia Beach area. Gusts up to maybe 50 miles an hour. Tropical storm conditions are possible in these areas. Even part of Delmarva, perhaps, could see some tropical storm conditions. And the winds are going to start picking up here. Again, this is Friday at 5 p.m., and you can see the winds are going to start to gust, particularly over Suffolk County, of 30 miles an hour. But as far as the wind speeds here, it's mainly going to be like a nor'easter. The worst of the winds stay offshore. You can see this is showing the wind gusts. So the worst of the winds stay offshore, but there could be some isolated power outages. But the bigger concern that I have, and Nova Scotia is going to get hit very hard by this. It's going to go right into Nova Scotia. You can still see some wind gusts there. They're going to get hit very hard. So it's staying over the water. I think it's going to be a hurricane right until it hits Nova Scotia, in my opinion. Probably just a Category 1, but it will be a hurricane. So let's go to the waves now. And I'm going to move this back now to Friday morning. So let's look at the waves right now, Friday morning. So this is the problem here. These waves. You're gonna have waves. You could have some 20-footer waves plus offshore, but there's gonna be a lot of beach erosion when that wind comes in and flooding. And then you have the rain aspect of it too. Here you go. So here is Dorian again offshore now, but you can still see the waves. Here's Friday, 4 p.m. The waves are starting to impact the Delmarva a little bit, and now Long Island, the South Shore, is going to see some definitely some erosion, beach erosion, and some flooding. Nothing severe, but it will be. We will feel the effects, and then the waves still remain really, really strong waves out in the middle of the ocean and lashing at the shores here. There's going to be some coastal. I think the biggest impact area is going to be beach erosion and coastal flooding. Like I said, along the coast, the South Shore, the East End is going to where the effects of the storm are going to be at their worst, as far as that goes. So now, let's go back to the we can look at the spaghetti models, but pretty much we have a pretty definite forecast as to where this is going. There isn't really too much uncertainty about it. Let's go to the models now, and we will look at the NAM. We'll go look at the easterns, and we'll just take a look at the amount of rainfall that this thing is going to. So this is the GFS. We'll look at the GFS and show it to you. So here's the track again. You can see it just tracks along the Carolinas with the worst of it. And a lot of the rain actually stays offshore too, so we may not even see that much rain from it. And I think the Cape might see more just because it sticks out more. You can see just a lot of rain, though, a lot of moisture with this thing. So if we go ahead and we look at the total accumulated precip, you will see some areas of eastern North Carolina and even into parts of Virginia might see upwards of 7-8 inches of rain out of this, maybe close to a foot in some areas. But for the most part, our area doesn't really see that much rain. The Cape could see an inch or two, but it looks like Nova Scotia could wind up getting a lot of rain, maybe 3 or 4 inches from this as well. So now let's look at the NAM model. NAM 12 kilometer, and you will see here, this is the NAM 12 kilometer, and you will see again a similar pattern with the rainfall. Not really a lot of rain for us. That's pretty much the worst hit areas are going to be this area right here. This eastern part, extreme coastal North Carolina, is just going to get battered over the next 12 to 24 hours, and then I think the worst will be over for as far as the storm's impact on the mainland United States. But then there's Nova Scotia. So that will conclude this weather update on Hurricane Dorian. Thank you for watching.